U.S. intelligence agency, mind control.
Now we get the Israel stuff.
There's a lot of this is like the core of the stuff.
genocide stuff.
There's a lot of stuff about Israel.
Yep.
Epic. This one's just text. What channel is that?
From occupied East Jerusalem.
Forbes.
Of course.
Let's go live now and hear from Riyad Mansour, the Palestinian-American diplomat.
It is high time now for the state of Palestine, which was called for the establishment of two states in Resolution 181 in 1947 by the General Assembly. So it is the General Assembly, along with the Security Council, the international community, to accept and to invite the other state, which is the state of Palestine, to become a full member in the United Nations.
Ooh.
After we have these two equal, full member in the United Nations, we open the door slightly in the direction of peace. And we hope that the Security Council, which is trusted in the maintenance of international peace and security, to allow for that door to open slightly in the direction of the implementation of the two-state solution, which requires the end of occupation and the independence of the state of Palestine. Today is a historic moment. I must congratulate Ambassador Vanessa from Malta, which we love immensely, the people and the leadership, that maybe a historic thing will be accomplished in the month of April. Thank you very much.
Okay, that was Riyad Mansour, Palestine's Palestinian UN ambassador. Let's head to the United Nations, speak to our correspondent.
Don't they need to be a recognized nation to be in the United Nations? Or is America planning on recognizing them?
On there, Gabriel Elizondo. So talk us through a bit about what's happening in the chamber right now.
Well, nothing is happening in the Security Council chamber right now because they just met in a...
Is Taiwan in the UN?
Are they? I don't know. Are they?
In a formality, they have now decided to continue this application process by Palestine for full UN membership. And the next step is at 3 o'clock, which is a little under 3 hours from now, the Security Council Committee on the new members will meet for the first time. And this will be the first time they meet. It'll be behind closed doors. There'll be no cameras inside, no live feed of it at all. And they will meet privately. And who is they? It's actually the 15 Security Council members that are also part of this committee. And they will begin discussing this application by Palestine for full UN membership. Now, what's interesting here is that the council has also decided that they want this process to move expeditiously. And they're saying that they're hoping that this is completed. When I say completed, I mean the Security Council discussions about this application by Palestine are completed by the end of April, so about another 3 weeks or so. In 2011, when Palestine last applied for full UN membership, the Security Council debated it for about 2 months. So they're looking to shorten that time frame right now. The big picture here is the Security Council will not ultimately decide. The Security Council will just ultimately have to get amongst themselves behind closed doors. And if they reach a consensus that the application should move forward.
Okay, so if Palestine is given full status, does that mean that Taiwan gets risen to full as well? Would that implicitly imply that? And if that's the case, would that prevent a Chinese invasion?
They will then announce that, and it will then go to the General Assembly for final ratification. It would need 2/3 in the General Assembly. By all accounts, Palestine has that. The issue now is, according to the UN Charter, it first has to be approved by the Security Council.
The last time Taiwan applied in 2007, it was rejected to join under the UN under the name of Taiwan. So this is when I've talked about that guy, Professor James Kerr Lindsay. One of the things that he's talking about on because you'll hear me talk about how the UN is effectively an institution that needs to be completely reformed.
Mm-hmm.
So like there is going to be a mass confederalization,
Yeah.
like Iraqi Kurdistan, Somaliland, Brittany,
Yeah.
Ireland, leaving Britain to reform into Ireland. That one will be a little bit easier. You know, it can't just be like these Taiwan as well, Palestine. There's
Yeah.
What is the Spanish one? The Barcelona people, what are they called?
Catalonia.
Catalonia, right? So then there's Corsica, another big one.
Yeah.
So these things are going to happen where they want to do these autonomous status things. The UN does not allow for that. The UN was prepared to basically prevent states from breaking.
Okay.
So the thing is, Palestine might have more legitimacy here to become a UN member than Taiwan, because Taiwan technically, like the way they came to be and the way they're recognized as being part of China, it would be like it would be recognizing a breakaway autonomous thing from China, even though it shouldn't be like that at all, because they set up their own government in their own state.
Yeah, almost immediately.
Yes, but in the place where we have to pretend to maintain the global economy, the situation is that they're a breakaway state from the People's Republic of China.
Yeah.
Which the UN doesn't like, because it gives legitimacy. If they give legitimacy to these breakaway states, then people in their country say, "Oh," and that's why they won't do it.
Yeah.
With this first closed door meeting that we expect in about 3 hours from now, the first of potentially several closed door meetings. Now, this is important. What I'm about to say is that if one of the 5 permanent members of the Security Council decides to veto this, it would be a veto, and it would not then go to the General Assembly. It would be over at that point. It's clear that the U.S. still does not support Palestine being a full UN member. We asked the deputy U.S. ambassador that a few hours ago. We said, has your position changed since 2011? He said, no, it has not changed. So, so there are closed door meetings now. And the question is, can the rest of the council, when we think that a fair number of council members, we believe, already have said they support Palestine's full UN membership, are they able to convince the U.S. not to veto it and send it on to the General Assembly? That is really the big question right now.
Yeah, it's interesting what you say there about the United States member, because when we heard from Riyad Mansour there, albeit it was very brief, he seemed to be quite positive about where this is likely to go.
Yeah, he was, because this is a historic moment. I mean, he really knows that the U.S. has veto power. He knows that better than anybody, and the U.S. is certainly willing to use that veto power. They've shown that in ceasefire resolutions since October 7th. But listen, I mean, this is still a historic moment for Palestine, because this was officially the second time now that they have now gotten this far, at least in this process at the UN, for full UN membership. And it's important for them. And sure, it's clear the U.S. will potentially use their veto power here. But that doesn't mean that this is now not at the top of the agenda of the Security Council. It clearly is. And the fact that they want to resolve this in the next month or
these headphones that are really hurting my ears, right? When my mom was like, "You want cat ear headphones?" and I said, and you know what I said back? I said, "Yeah, it's the Meta," knowing that would just confuse the shit out of her.
And she actually bought it.
No, well, she didn't understand. She was like, "The Meta," and I didn't answer. You know what Meta means?
Not necessarily.
Most effective tactic available.
Seriously?
Yes.
I didn't know it was an acronym.
Yes.
That's hilarious.
show, so it shows how quickly they want to try to expedite this process.
Okay, thank you for explaining all that to us. Gabriel Elizondo there for us in New York.
Fucking wild footage.
Yeah.
Good job, Israel. You really got him. You got him. You nailed him.
Syria, it's interesting because the way the destruction was,
Mm.
it like skeletalized the buildings
Yes.
more than
Yeah.
anything. So there was just these, basically they looked like parking
Hollowed
lots
out.
halfway
Yeah.
built.
Mm-hmm. It's
And,
like most of the photos I've seen are like that. That famous picture we used on Alan's episode had all
yeah,
the
that was
hollowed out
that was it's like Drea, like Drea or something.
Yeah.
Starts with a D. It's like,
Yeah. I can't remember what it is, but I'm also not very good with Middle Eastern town names.
it's like it's in Homs. It's associated
Yeah.
with the siege and fall of Homs, which is
Yeah.
when our first episode, our pilot episode, that's where that guy was from the first place that was sieged.
Yeah.
But it's actually like in the south instead of like the north where the most of the insurgency takes place. That's what's unique.
Yeah. Like I kind of know general areas,
Mm-hmm.
but like cities and shit in the Middle East, I'm fucking hopeless. Could not tell you shit about fuck. It's just I still confuse Kurdish cities, and that's like the most that I know about.
What ones?
The main ones,
Do you know Kurdish cities?
like Kirkuk and Idlib and that sort of stuff, but I always forget where they are.
Idlib is not Kurdish. Idlib is the
Right.
Syrian rebels.
Right. Sorry, and see, I fucked it up already. It was another city that I confused with
Kirkuk
Idlib.
is just Kirkuk isn't necessarily one of the like the big ones though.
No,
But,
I know.
like, it's just important politically right now.
Yeah.
But like even then where it gets hard with Kurdish is because there's multiple names for some of the cities.
Erbil, that's the one.
Yeah, Erbil. It's not.
Yeah.
That's incorrect though. It's not Erbil. It's Aller, like an Hawler. Aller.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's the city I always get confused with.
Yeah, but that's the thing is like Erbil is like the Arabic name, so they reject that name. Right. So that's another thing is then there's multiple languages.
I didn't know that's how you said it though.
Argue.
So it's more like an
Yeah. Well, you hear
how
Hawluri. You'll hear people say I'm a Hawluri and stuff too.
Yeah.
They'll never say Erbili.
The Associated Press with this headline: after 6 months of war, Israel's isolation grows.
There's also there's a Kurdish city in Turkey called Batman.
Batman.
Yeah, I don't know if that's how it's pronounced, but it is spelt Batman.
There's a Batman Street or something in Melbourne. There you go, Batman Avenue.
Declared war against Hamas. It stood unified at home and enjoyed broad backing from around the world. Now Israel finds itself in a far different place, bogged down in Gaza, divided domestically, isolated internationally, and increasingly at odds with its closest ally. Again, an AP quote there. And against the backdrop, all of that was said, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu delivered this message yesterday.
We will stand united. We will strike our enemies. We will eliminate Hamas. We will free our hostages. And with God's help, we will bring total victory.
Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi joined more than 30 House Democrats in writing a letter to President Biden. Here it is. We strongly urge you to reconsider your recent decision to authorize the transfer of a new arms package to Israel and to withhold this and any future offensive arms.
Just to be clear, I'm not sure if we put it on stream, but the State Department kind of like they kind of dodgy. They're dodgy with this type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, these things were issued and agreed to years ago before this happened, but basically it's like Israel, like the deal was already set, so but it's like fuck your deal, you know. Fuck your deal. I don't care if they ordered it 3 years ago.
Investigation into the airstrike is completed. Now that, of course, that airstrike is in reference to the accidental killing of 7 aid workers last week.
Oh, don't worry. Israel took accountability. They fired the guy responsible, and they're doing an investigation.
and that cutting off weapons to an ally in wartime would be the definition of betrayal.
No.
Burkhardt, Israel's Minister
No.
of
Okay.
Economy and Industry.
Okay,
a
do
former
it.
IDF paratrooper.
Maybe they should stop
No.
committing genocide.
No. The
Hmm.
definition of betrayal would be when we go in there and we coup your government, okay? Like,
And
come
former
on,
mayor
let's
of
get real
Jerusalem.
here. When
Mhm.
did Hitler betray Stalin?
When he invaded the Soviet borders, or
You
Russian
know,
borders, actually.
like the movie that was shot in the not Khrushchev area, the Gorby era, right? The Stalin
Mm.
movie in the Gorby era. Have I shown
Yeah.
you about that? So
Come
for
and
people,
see.
no, it's about Stalin.
Ah.
So the movie is filmed in Gorbachev's era. So Gorbachev let the American film crews come in and like film in the Kremlin and
Yes,
stuff
you have
because he
shown
was
me this.
cool,
Yes,
right?
you have
So
shown me
if
this.
you look up this movie, this Stalin
Mm.
movie, there's a great scene and it's depicting when he learns that Hitler's invading him. And he's like, no, he's not. Like the Stalin's planes all get like destroyed, right? Because he doesn't move them. He says Hitler's not going to betray me. When people are like, Hitler's literally betraying you right now, he's like, no, he isn't. Hang this guy. He's treasonous, right? Like, and like finally a general does stand up to him and stuff. I don't know what happened to the guy, but that's what the scene is. This is general being like, "You're fucking insane, bro. Your fleet is gone, bro. Hitler is here." And like Stalin coming to terms that Hitler has in fact betrayed him because that's the sort of pals they were.
Yeah. Yeah.
We welcome you into the Faulkner Focus.
You got to
Thank you for
remember,
being with me.
they both invaded Poland at the same time.
Let's double team.
First of
Poland.
all,
Thank you.
I want to try to understand your vision for where Israel goes at this point with its
Double
military.
team.
Well,
Poland.
October 7, Israel was attacked by terrorists, by jihadists. And from Hamas' perspective, October 7 is just the first incident. Their goal, their charter, together with Iran and Qatar, is to kill Jews all over the world. Actually, it's not just Jews, it's to kill all non-Muslims and to bring Sharia law. That's their charter. They're a vicious enemy. What we saw October 7, the massacres, the killing, the raping of women, we have to make sure that these Nazis do not survive this war. And it's an interest not just for Israel, it's an interest for all peace-seeking people around the world. So that's our goal. There's a consensus on that with the President of the United States, with the free.
Okay, now they're showing the paratrooping and stuff, but I was like, wait, are they showing Israel bombing Gaza while he's talking about this? But now it looks like paratroop thing.
World,
paramotors.
and that is our goal. We've got to finish that task.
So, I'm curious about why the world doesn't push against Hamas. What is the precedent for not pushing against the terrorists and demanding that the hostages come home? I mean, there should be a global voice at this point. We don't even need Biden to say much if the world will join in on that. What is keeping the world from jumping in?
Well, unfortunately, I agree with you. I think that every rational person has to understand that the alignment of evil, the alignment of Iran and Qatar. Iran is giving arms and Qatar is funding public opinion. There have thousands of people working against Israel, against the free world, to try to eliminate us and
so you've
stop
seen
the
TikTok.
Generally, it's not just that. It's funding the universities. It's blood money that they're using. They're using money and supporting Hamas and Jihad and ISIS.
Well, so they're pushing pushing second thoughts narrative here, huh?
They are.
That TikTok needs to go. Bro, so speaking of which, do you know who Ralph Warnock is? He's a Democrat. Okay, so he used to be a pastor. And so he's like he's a Democrat. He's very boring to listen to, but he's like one of the based guys, right? Who like isn't a fuckhead in government.
Okay.
So he was on Pod Save America, and they asked him that about the TikTok intelligence report that he's seen behind closed doors. I don't remember exactly what he says, but he basically says, "I have seen it, and what's there worries me."
Really?
Yeah. And this is like a chill, like one of the coolest, chillest members of Congress. Like he doesn't get worked up about shit. He's just always working through shit. He like ran against like he won in a runoff election, right? Against a literal person who has brain damage. The football player, what was his fucking name? Who was talking about vampires on HBO or some shit.
There's a lot of football players with brain damage.
Yeah, he like beat his wife and shit, but ran as a family candidate. Yeah, I know. Warnock is who I'm talking about. Who did he run against? Walker, Herbert Walker. Yeah, that's right. Or Herschel Walker. Herschel Walker, right?
Yeah.
Literal brain damage, right?
Herschel Walker.
Yeah, that's and he almost lost to that guy, bro.
Almost,
like,
yeah.
Have blood on their money, and they're funding and buying their way here in the United States and all over the world. So we understand the sensitivity of the world and the American administration to make sure that no innocent people are hurt. We understand that, and we will help.
What about the 32,000 people that are already dead?
We don't want collateral damage. We want to focus on the terrorists, and that's what we will do. And we will consider all our friends in the world that are concerned about having people, sometimes
she's
people
like, okay, shut up. We need to do more propaganda now. You're boring people. They're shutting it off. They can't understand your accent.
Well, it's war. I think people understand that, that the 7 aid workers complicated matters because the chef that runs that food program spoke out quite strongly against Israel. I'm going to ask my team, do we have a little bit of that to play?
Epic. Please shit on this
We'll move
guy,
on at this
Fox
point.
News.
I did want to ask you, though.
Just let me react to that one, please, with your permission. You should know that 40 Israeli soldiers were killed by friendly fire. And also 3 of the hostages that escaped Hamas were killed by friendly fire. This is friendly fire, and it happens all over the world. It happens to America. It happens in the Second World War. It happens, unfortunately, everywhere.
Bro, no.
And we're really
no.
sorry.
Like the most notorious friendly fire incident is like, like it does not just happen in America. There's like a notorious specific incident. It's so rare.
We'll come back to
Bro, these people and their resistance to putting outlines on meme font, right?
I know.
Like, bro, I can't read it. It's white on white.
It says Hitler invading Poland,
Yeah,
Stalin also invading Poland.
I know, we get what it says, but your mind can fill in the blanks at least.
See, this is a funny one. This is funny. This is what you were searching, was it?
I typed in double team Poland. Don't breathe this.
What is this? This is not what I wanted. But this will work.
What are you talking?
The Associated Press with this head.
Wait, is this the same video?
Yes. Right? There it is. There it is. There was the threat. They have to condition you with how Israel is great, and they just make mistakes. Friendly fire happens.
You should know that 40 Israeli soldiers were killed by friendly fire.
That's bad.
3 of the hostages.
How long? 6 months? 6 months? 40 friendly fire incidents that resulted in fatalities in 6 months?
8 per month.
It's like
2 per week.
Sometimes people die in training,
2 per week. That's fucking crazy.
By friendly fire. This is friendly fire, and it happens all over the world. It happens to America.
And hostages that they killed.
Yeah, who were surrendering, waving white flags and shit, bro.
Yep.
It happens in the Second World War. It happens, unfortunately, everywhere. And we're really sorry. And
we're really sorry. We're sorry.
With the family of the.
They said sorry. They said sorry. Should we forgive them, guys?
But you don't change your strategy fighting jihadists and terrorists.
Oh,
because unfortunately,
I'm sorry, but I'm not going to change. Just like my act.
Well, Biden seems to think you might. because that's what he's demanding. Let's move to this.
Gaslighting.
Israel facing now an imminent threat from Iran. Its defense forces.
All of my elderly.
Noble Gold Investment.
Whoa, what are you doing? No, you
Hello,
can't. You
I'm
can't.
Tony
It's
Hank.
no copyright.
Dude, there's no way. Seriously?
Viacom owns that shit, bro. Viacom is the worst.
So perfect. So
Get a
perfect.
soundbite.
I'll send you the video.
I know what it is. That's what I was referencing when I said we're sorry. Like,
The Associated Press with this headline after.
Let's get back to the threat.
Iran publicly vowed revenge for a deadly strike on one of their embassy buildings in Syria last week. It killed one of their top generals, the commander of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps there, the Quds Force. 4 Israeli officials told the New York Times Israel was behind that attack, although the government has not, to our knowledge, at least today, on the record, taken official responsibility. The New York Times also reports
The
Iran is
fucking
planning
Libby's
a direct
memeing on this guy has been so fucking funny.
attack on Israel. President Biden and his administration reportedly are very worried. The deputy chief of staff for Iran's president posted this. Iran warns U.S. leadership not to get dragged into Netanyahu's
Oh my God, brother Spider-Man is wanting to saving me from crazy Iblis.
Iran and its proxies, the most destabilizing force in the Middle East. The president and his team are working hard to prevent escalation and are prepared to defend any attack and respond swiftly if necessary.
What's your response to that?
Well, it's well known that Iran is a jihadi state. They're the biggest funder of terror around the world. They fund Hezbollah. They arm Hezbollah, together with Qatar, by the way. They are behind Hamas. And their charter, like all of the Muslim Brotherhood Alliance, which is an evil alliance, want to destroy the state of Israel. This is not new. We've been saying this for, unfortunately,
I want to cut in just one quick second. Just one quick second. How do you change the world's perspective?
I love that they all need their modest little crucifixes on Fox News. Like, come on, bro. Like, we get it. It's a cross, but it's modest. Bro, put a fucking medallion on her. Shut up about it, okay, Kayleigh McEnany wannabe?
Gotta make it quick.
Well, I think that the rationale, people have to understand that the jihadists are not just after
Kayleigh
Israel. They call us the little Satan.
It's so dedicated to her Christianity that she cut her tits off.
For fuck's sake.
It's the big Satan. From their perspective, the West, the Christians and Jews are enemies of Islam, and from their perspective, that's what's written on their charter.
My brother, this is haram.
All over in their hometowns. Listen to what they're saying in Arabic, and the world has to understand we're all on the same line. And if we don't win here in Hamas, you're going to see this.
Oh my God, brother Spider-Man is wanting to saving me from crazy Iblis.
In the United States. We all understand that. And the modern
Will Iran actually start a war? No, they're pussies.
They're such sucks.
Bro, like I love the one time we found Donald Trump actually being truthful. It's him being like, they called me. Iran called me. They said, we're going to shoot at you.
And the Saudis and the rest of the moderate Arab states are deeply concerned about this move because they all understand that it's not just Israel's war that we're fighting. People have to understand that.
I appreciate you going.
But we have to understand about Iran.
Important as our president
while the IRGC is the most destabilizing terrorist group in the Middle East right now, possibly the world. Like, obviously, ISWAP and ISIS, they're way more destabilizing because they're way more widespread and stuff. But like, as far as like, if we look at liberal and capitalist interests, IRGC is very problematic to those interests, oil. So from that standpoint, we have to remember that all states are out for their own interest, and Iran is a capitalist country that's also under sanction. The best way to get around that is basically using these other countries to funnel economy and oil money through, get Hezbollah to sell used cars in East Africa or West Africa, I think. So that's the thing, is that Iran won't start a war because they want the oil, right? You don't start wars for oil. That's stupid, right? When you're out of war, you can just suck up the oil. So Iran has figured out ways to basically repossess many of these places like Kirkuk to basically hold more oil power, to hold more economy and dollar bills, y'all, right? So that's why Iran immediately told their forces after they bombed the US and Jordan, being like, y'all need to stop. All right? We're supposed to just pretend. We're supposed to pretend that we're scary, so that way the fucking commie simps in America keep voting and supporting the PSL. You know, that's what he says, literally. He definitely mentions the PSL specifically. I'm obviously being sarcastic now.
To look duplicitous as he gives war materials and then tries to win votes at home by saying that he's against the war going on at this point and wants the ceasefire or whatever his idea is. So having you on is very important. I appreciate your time.
Well, we got to stay
Thank
united
you.
here. It's a bipartisan issue. It's not a partisan issue, and we got to make sure that the
All right.
alignment of good beats the alignment of evil.
Cringe.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Hey,
you very much.
Reagan.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno.
Hi,
That's me and my
Emily.
co-hosts
Hi, Emily.
Harris Faulkner and Kaylee Mack.
Bye,
Like-
Emily.
Are you aware of a CIA psychological profile about you, sir? Would you be interested in hearing what the CIA had to say? This secret study portrays as a brilliant but dangerous megalomaniac who is likely to pursue his own aims in disregard of U.S. interests. He's an uncertain ally. Shall I go on, or would you prefer that I stop, sir?